Rambam, in the fifth book of Tahara, of purity. It's interesting. The book of purity.
Donald Trump speak so clear, so authentic, so.
All right. So purity for a Jew is in two places, particularly. Or purity, holiness. Where's holiness? In two places. What we're learning now, relationships and illicit relations, right? Of not engaging in illicit relations. And that's what we're speaking about. And the other place is food. Where the two strongest drives human beings have when it comes to food and it comes to sexuality. Those are the two biggest drives, right? They're more natural drives that, the drive to make money even. Not everybody has that drive. Sexuality, there's a drive. Food, there's a drive, right? That's something of me, as opposed to, yeah. And in drive of the animal soul, and therefore here we have the laws that will keep us and make it into a holy drive. So let's go to chapter 6 in Isur Bia, the prohibitions of relations, and it's speaking about nida. So you can't have relations with your own wife, right? And that brings holiness to the relationship when she's in the menstrual cycle. Now, speaking menstrual cycle here. Yeah, okay. So there's different types of give me one quick second. No. No.
10 minutes, less than 10 minutes, Rabbi. And then they said, let's go to the next stage of calling the families and the support network and the rabbis to come hear the discussion they have at the Vadai, Rabbi. And
I'm in the middle of Rambam. Quickly.
I'll send out an email. I'll call you back, Rabbi.
When is the mikvah?
They said they first meet with the sponsoring families and the rabbis and everything on the 18th of June. And then I'll do a short oral exam a week after that, and then the mikvah. Hopefully by the end of June.
Amazing. All right. Great news. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right.
Why is it 3 stages?
I don't know. Okay. The bleeding of Nida, that's a menstrual cycle, the bleeding of Ziva, which is not the menstrual cycle, it's like the off cycle. It's the bleeding of childbirth, from childbirth, a different kind of bleeding. The pure blood that follows childbirth after 7 days for a boy and after 14 days for a girl. That's called pure blood. There's still blood, but it's not blood that makes you impure. All are one type of bleeding. They come from the uterus, from the same source. The laws applying to this bleeding, however, change according to the time and circumstance, causing the woman who discovers a bleeding to be considered as pure, or she could be pure, she could be a nida, or a zava. right? A zava is a third, yeah, is also an impurity, actually more severe because it's not in the regular time period when you would expect to see blood, menstrual cycle. So it has a greater stringency. Okay? So those are the three things. So what's implied? When a woman menstruates for the first time, or when she menstruates at a fixed time at which she has been established that she will menstruate, she is needed for full 7 days. So let's make sure we get this clear. What it means that the established time, today women are not so established as it used to be. The world is crazy, and that it reflects itself in menstrual cycle. It used to be back in the day that a woman, if she saw Rosh Chodesh, let's say she saw her cycle was that she would see every Rosh Chodesh, she would see every Rosh Chodesh. And not only that, she would see it in the early morning, every time early morning, right? Would go on. Sometimes there might be something happen in her life that, created some kind of whatever, and she would be off, right? But back then it wasn't. It was, back in the day, it was, it wasn't the only way. Of course, you could see at different times and so on, but today it's much more that than ever before. Hey, that's the fixed time, right? So she's called Anida, and she is in that state of impurity for 7 days. This applies whether she continues to bleed throughout the 7 days or she only discovered one drop of blood, right? But it's still the time that she always sees, has her cycle, right? Her menstrual cycle. How could it be only one drop of blood? But it's giving the parameter of the law, right? If she discovers blood on the eighth day, this is called blood of Ziva. She becomes outside the time of Nida. That's the key, right? Nida is the expected time. Ziva is the unexpected time, right? Any blood that was discovered between one fixed time that a woman can be expected to menstruate and the next fixed time that she can be expected to menstruate is called blood of Ziva because it's not the expected time, right? It is halacha transmitted from Moshe to Sinai that there is no more than 11 days between one menstrual bleeding and another. Big debate about this. Now, I just want to point out that what we're learning right now is the biblical law, not the halacha the way we follow it today. That would be much later on. We're going, not today, that we will learn. That we will learn the laws has because today, because of rabbinic law, so the nida and the ziva are put together as one kind of law. But again, that's all for now. Now we're just understanding it from a biblical point of view. So from a biblical point of view, you have 7 days and then 11 days. All the 7 days beginning with the day on which the fixed time that a woman can be expected to menstruate are established called the days of Nida. This applies whether the woman menstruates or not. Right? There's still days of Nida because that's the expected time. Why are they called days of Nida? Because they are fit for the woman to be considered Nida. Any blood discovered during these days is considered as blood of Nida, right? Because again, she has a fixed schedule. For the last 10 years, she's been seeing every Rosh Chodesh, or the last year, whatever. It's even just 3 months. Well, we're going to learn that. The 11 days that follow these 7 days are called the days of Ziva. This applies whether the woman discovers there's bleeding or not. Why are they called the days of Ziva? Because it's fit for a woman to be considered a Ziva. Any blood discovered during these days is considered the blood of Ziva. Take care with regard to these names, the days of Nida and the days of Zida. Right? This is, we're establishing the ideas here. the principles. Throughout, second, throughout the her entire life, from the time she establishes a time when she can be expected to menstruate until she dies, or until she transfers the time she can be expected to menstruate to another date, she should count 7 days from the beginning of the day when she could be expected to menstruate, and 11 days after them. After she counts another 7 days and another 11 days. So it's like an 18-day, which many disagree with the Rambam, just to let you know, because how do you have it 18 days when in fact it's really 28, 30-day monthly cycle. So it becomes a little challenging according to the way the Rambam learns. And again, this is from a biblical point of view, not the way we actually do things today. Take care of reckoning so that you would know the woman's status if she took out first blood. Was it in the days of Nida, the days of Ziva? For throughout the woman's entire life, she followed the same pattern. 7 days of Nida, 11 days of Ziva, unless the pattern was interrupted by birth, as will be explained. Okay. We're going to stop here. All right, folks. Thank you very much.